Hello, everyone. Please give
Good
me a hi
afternoon.
if you can hear me. Hello. Hi.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Great,
Benaiah, can you
great.
hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Just a second, I'm going to turn my camera on.
All right, that's fine. Great. So, good afternoon to everyone, and thank you so much for joining us here on our live webinar. It's our last webinar for the year. We've had some pretty insightful conversations this year. And we thought to put this one also together to, take stock of how the year has gone and do some, uh, projections for the next year, what we should expect, what next year is looking like within the real estate sector. So thank you so much for joining us, for giving us your Monday afternoon. And to my guest, I say thank you so much. Thank you, Hannah. You're always available when Meqasa calls on you. We're so grateful for your partnership. Thank you. And how are you doing this afternoon?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. And thank you so much for the opportunity. And thanks for always calling on me. So I appreciate it as well. And happy new month.
Yes, happy new month to you too. To Benaiah, thank you so much for joining us. In the course of the year, we had a really interesting conversation with Benaiah. And if you haven't seen that interview, please go onto our YouTube and get it. It's really insightful. So Benaiah, thank you. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm good, thank you. I'm well, just excited for the conversations today.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So today we're really going to, as I said, take stock of how the year has gone, what the impact of or has been on, on the real estate sector from various other sectors, an election year, the economy, what impact it's had on the sector, what next year is looking like in terms of all these factors as well. We also have a conversation about jobs and career. Now multiple streams of income is the way to go, the way things are going. So, and we know that the industry has a lot of prospects. So we'll dive into that as well. And so once again, if you're just joining us, thank you. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Daniela Saredu, Head of Marketing and PR here at Meqasa, and we're excited to have you. So we'll zoom right into our conversation. But before that, I've mentioned who my guests are, but I'm going to give them about a minute or two to tell us what they do. We're going to have a conversation later about jobs and career. And I think that it will be a good place to start when we get into it to know, what you do, how you do it, how long you've done it, just to give us an idea of who we're speaking to today. So I'll start with you, Hannah.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. So I'm Hanna Atiase. I'm the founder of Ewell's Realty and Consultancy, which is a real estate brokerage. So we primarily help people who are looking to buy, sell, rent properties, whether it's commercial or residential, and land as well. We also have Ewell's Homes, which is the development piece, and we're looking to develop it to affordable housing. So I have been in real estate in Ghana for over a decade. And I think my passion is to help the youth empowerment. We do the African Youth and Real Estate Entrepreneurship Program every year. So the purpose of that is to really teach the youth about the value chain in real estate. And then I love seeing women in real estate. We don't see enough women in real estate
Yeah.
in Ghana. So I want to encourage more women in leadership positions in real estate. So we have the African Women in Real Estate conferences we host as well. And so ultimately, my passion is to help raise millionaires through real estate in the African continent. So I think that's it in a nutshell. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Benaiah?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Daniela. And hi, Hannah. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too. My name is Benaiah Rawlings, and I work as a real estate consultant. I've been a real estate consultant in Ghana for the past 5 years. Um, my segment is pretty much helping people buy homes and guiding them through the entire process. We also help with rentals, short-term rentals, and the sales of houses. It's been quite exciting, and I hope that's some of the things we're going to be talking about today. So, yeah.
Awesome. So, people, I guarantee you we're in good hands. So we're going to have an exciting conversation and we'll go right into it. So, on Saturday, we go to the polls where we're, changing guard. We do this every 4 years. And at the beginning of this year, it became the official election year. A lot's been happening, and it will all culminate into a decision we make as a country on Saturday. Um, as I said earlier, our sector is largely influenced by a lot of different things. And I'm sure that an election year is one of those. Hanna, you've been in the sector for 10 years, but now you've been here for 5 years. I'm sure you've experienced other election years as well. Usually, what is the impact on real estate, on buying, on selling, on consumer preferences, on purchasing power? What, in your experience, have you seen is usually the impact of an election year on the real estate sector?
Yeah, so I think one of the things is because of the uncertainty. We really don't know uh, not just which way it's going to go in terms of which party is going to take the win, but our hope is that there would be the continuous peace that we've experienced all the time. But just because nobody knows for sure 100% which way it's going to go, there's uncertainty. And whenever there's a sense of uncertainty, people are less willing, or people are reluctant to let go of their investments or their capital because they don't know what's going to happen in the economy. So what we find during this time is things slow down. Less people are buying, less people want their funds locked up in an investment and not knowing the outcome of the elections. So you find that buyers, investors are very slow in decision making. Everybody's kind of tearing along, waiting for the elections to take place. So that's one of the things I've noticed. Now, if people do buy, they are not buying out of investment per se, but it may be a need. Like they need to purchase a home, and they want a place for their family, and that's a necessity. So either way the elections go, they're going to need their primary residence. But in terms of an investment, they're much slower in that decision-making process.
Okay. Benaiah, have you had any such experiences? Benaiah, you're muted.
Is it okay now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yes. Hannah said it all. There's so much uncertainty right now, and it's the most likely cause for anyone looking to either want to invest in real estate or want to buy real estate. Um, right now, we don't know what's going to happen because a change in guard can also mean a change in policies, a change in tax regulations and issues. So it's some of the things that really want to you want to think through before making a huge decision as to whether you want to put that $100,000 on a particular home. Another thing that you need to we're going to see is interest rate, right? We don't know whether the interest rate would increase, or we don't know if this interest rate would reduce a bit, because obviously the more uncertainty we have, whether in this government or the next government, the more higher the interest rates are going to become. We all know that purchasing a home as a Ghanaian is not, it's something. It's not as easy as it is. Homes aren't affordable. And if we are to if we are to make these homes accessible to not just the Ghanaians with a higher purchasing power, but to also the average Ghanaians, we need to make these interest rate competitive and a bit lower than what it is right now. So there's so much uncertainty on the market right now.
Okay, so at what point do you usually experience these? Is it at the beginning of the year, getting closer to the election date, or in the middle of the year? At what point is this really most from your observations most prominent?
It pretty much starts just before the election. And the reason for that is everyone is trying to do, especially right now, the good thing about the current landscape is it's a bit more peaceful. There is no gun fighting or anything, which makes it a little bit more interesting. But you tend to find that before the election, people are a bit worried and skeptical, especially with the promises going on and about with the different governments. You just want to know what's going to happen, right? And the more we draw closer to the election time or the election period, the more intense those emotions and feelings become. So in that situation, you just don't want to invest. So what you tend to see is a savvy investor or anyone will just relax, but just keep watching, okay? Just keep your eyes open, keep your ears to the ground, but you just stay put and see what happens. So it gets a bit intense towards the election and a bit after the election. But just after the election, when the policies are now beginning to be announced and these things are put in place, then of course, yes, that's when the surge begins to go up again.
Okay. Is that the same in your experience, Hannah?
Absolutely. I think, at the beginning of the year, people are not really thinking about elections, right? The momentum of the campaign is not as intense. The days are not as close. Everybody thinks they always have more time, more time. So the closer you get towards the elections is when reality hits and you begin to understand that, hey, it's about to happen in a couple of weeks, So I would agree with him and say, absolutely, more people are inclined to slow down the closer you get to the election day.
Okay. What does this election period and campaigning and all of that, what effect does it also have on December as a festive season? Because usually in December, there's an influx of diasporans into the country. Shortlets are booming, Airbnbs are booming, but does the election period usually have an effect on those expectations as well? And especially now, is it happening now?
Yes,
Yeah, absolutely.
You go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, it's definitely it is the case. There's a huge effect and impact of this December election on real estate. One of which is infrastructure, right? You can see that, I mean, there are two notable ones I would like to mention. The flyover in Flower Ports. I don't know how many people know about that. And then the next one at the Spintex Palace Mall Highway. Right now, and it's really surprising that I think infrastructure is so we need to consider it is a very huge drive and has huge effect on real estate. If you take the example of the Dodowa Road being constructed right now, the road is being expanded. Now, what has happened is properties, and which includes lands that are being sold in that stretch, have maybe doubled. Okay, it's appreciated like 30–40%, right? If you have a home in Spintex or in Chado or anywhere after Spintex, now you know that the traffic isn't going to be as what it is before. Homes over there as well will appreciate, and anyone looking to, if you're a developer and you're looking to invest in buying a land around that location, it makes so much sense because you're going to have buyers. Now you have the road easy and accessible by everyone with lesser traffic. So there's going to be a boom. There's going to be a buyout in that particular place. But another interesting thing is these things are happening close to when elections supposed to take place on Saturday, right? So it's just some of the effects it can have. When these things draw closer, um, governments or the current government just tend to do something to promise the people that they want they care for us, right? And by so doing, these things are put in place to encourage not just the people but investors, to also encourage economic businesses to just keep going on about. So yeah, that's some of the effects it can have on real estate.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's one way to look at it. Um, and it's pretty interesting because I would think that if I was a diaspora and I wanted to visit Ghana, and I knew they were having elections, I would probably, hold off and travel, maybe postpone my travel or something. Are we seeing a lot of those, especially the beyond the return initiatives and all of that? Is the election having any effect on those?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that what I've noticed is more cancellations and more slowdowns in terms of the short stays and the Airbnbs. I think the cancellations come from people maybe finding out later on that, hey, the elections are December 7th, so they want to hold off. So we find that with a lot of our short stays, people are booking after the elections. And in fact, we usually have our event, the First Time Home Buyers in Ghana seminar on, December 7th, December 6th. Every year we've done it then. We've had to push it back to December 21st. And even that date will all depend on the direction of the elections. So yes, absolutely. Visitors are not coming in prior to elections because if things go south, they would be in a foreign country, and they would need to be evacuated, and people just don't want to take that risk. So we are finding cancellations, and we are finding most of our bookings are coming after the election. We have a lot of bookings towards the end of the month and towards January as well, in February, where typically it starts slowing down in February. And it's usually busy between November till about January in terms of short stays and visits. But this year we found that a lot of it's been pushed back till after elections and moving even into February.
Okay.
So people are taking safety measures. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's interesting. Does it affect anything? Because, if people seem to come to Ghana and enjoy the period between, say, November and third week in December, and now they have to shift it. Does it affect their interest or their enjoyment or anything in any way?
I don't think so because, there's still a lot of events. If you look at the schedule of events for December in Ghana, there are over 200 events. And there are a lot of events after December 7th. There are quite a few leading up to even December 7th. However, you'll find majority of the December in Ghana events are after election. And some of the notably popular ones like the Afrofuture events and that sort of thing, they're all after elections. So I don't think so. And, flight tickets, they're also much cheaper from Christmas Day and beyond. So if anything, it's probably a benefit to get your tickets, etc. after Christmas.
Awesome. Okay, that's interesting. So now let's talk about the way the economy has gone this year.
Do we have to talk about that? We were all in a good mood before you brought that question up. I mean, Benaiah, I'll let you handle this because you're a very calm person.
Oh,
Oh goodness. I mean, judging from your reaction, and we've had quite some year. We've had quite some year. Um, Tell us how has it affected the sector, really, in your experiences in your business? How has
Benaiah, tell
it
us.
you've been in the system for 10 years. Please tell us.
Well. This has been a crazy year.
Right.
A
Yes,
crazy
yes,
year.
yes, yes. Yes, it's been really crazy. I remember um 2020, when things just happened, COVID, lockdown, and man, it was really crazy that time. Um, Compared to this year, wow. Um, it was really unpredictable. Um, and I think it's going to remain that way as right now because we don't know what's going to happen, whether now or tomorrow. But it's quite interesting to observe, how many people can say they feel aged 5 years just keeping up with the dollar CD rate, right? Um, I mean, today the dollar is this, and I remember how many times I have to call the forex bureau just to ask them how much the dollar is to a city right now. Um, and that has really the depreciation of the city has really messed things up. But not just, I mean, Hannah, you can relate for your first time home buyers. I have people who have saved up, all right, to either build or buy a home just to find out that, oh, sorry, this home is pegged at this amount in dollars, and all that city you've saved over the years has been depreciated to like nothing, and you have to, start all over again. It's just really been sad for most people. I have young folks who, made so much intention to want to buy a house, say if the home was worth like $300,000 or 300,000 cities. Now that home is worth 450,000 cities. That's the average, 450,000 cities. Shocking thing was another someone reached out to me and a very good friend, and she was going through a crisis with family, and she said, "Can I find a home for 600,000 cities?" And I saw that what she wanted, the average home she could find right now was 1.2 million Ghana cities. So these things are some of the reality that we all have to face, and it hasn't been easy, especially if you are a real estate investor or if you are a first-time home buyer or looking to purchase a home. And even if you want to build a home, I mean, so many people think building a house it's cheaper, it's the best route to go. I mean, no one escapes that, right? I remember last month I was going to buy. I was putting up a laundry and I was going to buy a bag of cement, and I was told it was like 86 Ghana cities. The last time I bought a cement was like 45, 50 Ghana cities. Now, this reality, I've heard of it. I've heard it's 86 Ghana cities, or I've heard it's 80 Ghana cities a bag. But the reality sets in when you're like, okay, hold on. It's 86 Ghana cities a bag for just cement, right? And you're not talking about blocks, you're not talking about the roads, you're not talking about like other building materials. So it's become more expensive right now to either buy or build a home. And sadly, it's going to remain that way for a while until hopefully we see any new policy that will help easing up this, economic stress. Well, it's just how sad it's sad as it can be right now. Yeah. I mean, Hannah, you can talk more about this.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks for using 2020, the COVID period, as a reference point, because if I compare 2020 to now we are experiencing the effects of COVID, which is the high inflation rates, and even we look at treasury bills, for example. People could have saved in treasury bills, and when they go to withdraw funds as down payments, they realize that, hey, what a surprise. They're getting much less than the value of that treasury bill. So that's one thing. But what I want to say is I've noticed the difference in mindset as well. Because during COVID, we were selling. I mean, we were still selling in the midst of COVID with virtual tours, with online platforms. People were still buying. And I think the mindset there was, hey, life is short. If I don't buy something and leave a legacy or an inheritance for my children, I'll be stuck. And then people also realized that those who are living in apartments, it was not a good situation. So more people were looking for detached homes. So the mindset was different. But now it's more like, affordability is the bottom line. Are we able to afford this? But affordability wasn't in the forefront of people's minds during COVID. So I think those are some of the mindset shifts that we see. I mean, now, as we all agree, it's crazy.
Yeah. So what I deduce from your submissions is that definitely there's been an impact on purchasing. So consumers, you're not getting as much sales as compared to previous years. Is that the case?
Yeah, absolutely. I think sales have slowed down because, you're not really getting value for your money. I mean, with inflation, if you tell me that a 3-bedroom property is now, millions of CDs, that is not value for my money. The rooms are small. It's in a gated community with no garden space, no yard space. If you tell me it's 2 million CDs, that's not value for my money. But if you're telling me it's something like 900,000 CDs, then, I may consider buying it. So now with high inflation rates, the prices are through the roof and it's not value for the money. So people are not going to buy, at those prices. So that's what people are looking at. At the end of the day is, am I getting value for my money? No, then you're not buying.
Right. But interestingly, this year alone, there have been a number of new developments, new apartments, especially in very, very prime areas. How do we reconcile the two? How is it possible that in this period that things are really going crazy, we're seeing a number of new developments? What's accounting for that, and how is that possible?
I would like to know who's behind these new developments. That's my question.
Same thing.
That will account for a lot of things.
Oh, is
Okay,
it?
so, yeah. I mean, no kidding. Just have to know.
Because who's behind these new developments? When you look at the price or the cost of labor, laborers are not going to be taking the same pay that they were taking last year because everything has gone up. So labor costs has gone up. Construction costs have gone up. You try clearing something at the port if you're bringing in stuff from overseas. That cost is gone up. So who's starting these new developments? And how are they starting it? And are they finishing it? That's another question. And how are they finishing it? Because we're running into situations where, developers are not building the way they should be building. I mean, I had a client, it was raining. The client sent me a video of his furniture swimming in the living room. You see. So, construction the quality is not as it is. So it's not just about going out there and building and seeing new developments coming up. We're talking about quality of construction here. So I actually have a lot of questions.
But Benaiah, you've seen some new developments come up this year.
I have the same question, so just like Hanna.
But you've seen in fact you've attended some
yes,
launch.
no, yes, I have, and quite interestingly, I did because I just wanted to find out how they do it. Okay, I just want to know, how do you put up a 17th floor building like with about 200 apartments? Like, I want to know how you want to do it and still stick to your projected timelines, right? But quite interestingly, most of these new developments or new projects are JV deals. So what that means is the developers they're not really required to put up or put down so much money to get this project started, right? So they just come to some sort of agreement with whoever, either the government owned lands or private owned lands, right? And then put up those structures. And then it's just like she's saying, some of the things that we are beginning to see, even those homes you can find being put up in prime areas does not mean they have prime, how am I going to put it? Like, does
Building
not mean
material.
exactly, right? They're not really constructed well. Just to illustrate it, she gave an example of one time it's raining and your client's furniture was swimming, it's the same thing, right? Right now, we have the same issue, the same problem. Okay. A place was completely built, uh, constructed, handed over, and just 1 month into that project, you see mold and cracks. And some of these projects, I was telling my friend the other time, require a huge structural renovation. And this will shake up the building. Okay. I don't want to mention the name of the developer, but there's another developer right now. I don't know how they built that development somewhere in Cantonment, but every homeowner, every sink uh, is has this really, really awful stench. And that problem has affected every home or every person living in that development. To do that, you have to have, there's going to be like a lot of, destruction and putting up all over again, toilet sinks and toilet systems. So that's the question we keep asking. It's not just about putting up houses, but how many of those homes and how many of those apartment complexes are really, like she said, value for money, okay? I want to have my home in a place that in the next 20 years, I want to sell it for X amount of money. You don't want to have a home that after 20 years, instead of making profit, you're making almost nothing. Okay, you're running out of loss. There's another place right now in East Legon, a prime project built by a notable property developer. Homeowners in that particular development want to resell, but no one wants to buy that house. No one wants to buy that house. And most of them have even given like 20% discount, 20%, which means if you bought that home at $100,000, maybe 5 years ago or 6 years ago, you're selling that home for like $85,000. And even at that level, no one wants to come back because there's a lot of new projects coming up, and people just find it makes more sense putting up money in this new project than going to buy an old project. So it's some of the challenges that you can find. It's not just
And
about putting up, yeah. It's not just about putting up the project. It's who's putting the project up. What who are they? How solid in terms of building capacity and at the construction really professionally done, so there's a lot of questions to ask in all this.
And I was also going to touch on what he said, maybe in 20 years, it's not, necessarily that people want to sell the house, but, one of the things that we're lacking in this nation and this continent as a whole is generational wealth through the real estate. How can you pass on a legacy to to your inheritance and the building collapses before you even have that opportunity? So the maintenance culture, of course, we know it's quite poor. But that's one thing. So now if people are putting up these structures and you tell me that they're using modern building technology or they're using, bamboo or earth brick or, some sort of building material that cuts costs. Now you have hempcrete and that sort of thing. Then I'm more inclined to think that, okay, there is a possibility that people are able to put up and build because of the fact that they're using building material that is cost effective. That's one way. And then secondly, if the people who are putting up are foreigners and have access to capital overseas at lower interest rates, that's another possibility that's how these people are able to put up put up properties. Okay, because those two are determining factors. So I'm more inclined to believe that these may be the reasons as to how they're putting up some of these new structures.
Okay. Do you think that we're going to be experiencing this in 2025 as we go into 2025? Benaiah, you think that it's going to be like this for a while until certain things change? Hanna, do you think same? Are we going to be experiencing this in 2025? What should we be expecting?
Well, the question is, what should we be doing? We should all be praying and fasting that things turn for the better in 2025. Lord, help us. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm hoping, and everybody go vote. Go vote for somebody you believe will turn things around. Okay. So yeah, I'm trying to be, very positive, and I'm hopeful that things will turn around and that we will see housing regulations. I'm so happy that the Real Estate Agency Council is now enforcing a few things in terms of having your being either a broker or agent and having your certification. Gareb, I've seen, have started the Ghana Institution for Real Estate Brokers. So I am seeing some positive changes, and I definitely do think that we will begin to see some change in the housing sector. But we're not waiting on government. We're all a part of the housing sector. Buyers, consumers, builders, developers, etc. We're all key stakeholders. So if we all do a little bit, I definitely believe that we will see change.
Okay. Benaiah, do you think same?
Yeah, I do. I think the best thing for everyone to do right now is be positive. Just stay positive. Of course, if you've got to save, do whatever you can. One of the most important things, just like she said, just go vote. Vote for someone you think is the best person to be, the president right now. Yeah, just do whatever you can and just be positive. That's what I can say. We don't know what's going to happen. Okay, there could be negative or positive turn of events after this, but the best thing that we can do right now is just be positive. That's all.
Okay. Before I move on to the next question, I'm curious. So how have you survived this year? How has your business survived? What have you done to keep thriving in the midst of this crazy year?
For me, it's been challenging, yes, but I started my business just in 2019, okay, just when COVID and all those drama was all over the place. And if there's something COVID has taught me is be prepared for whatever happens ahead of time, think in advance, and also most importantly, be positive. Just be positive. Many people ask me, how do you stay motivated? You're making all the cash, you're making all the moves, and to be honest, it's not always the case. There are times that my team would testify. There was one time, just 5 deals just went south, all one after another, back to back. Sorry, I can't buy right now. I can't buy right now. I can't buy right now, and everyone just pulled out of the buying game. It's just been hard, but just like any successful entrepreneur would tell you, you just have to be positive, keep your ears to the ground, prepare yourself, do what you have to do, and yeah, you'll be successful. We've been able to just diversify, face different things, if it's property management or rentals, short-term rentals, long-term rentals, home sales or consultancy. We've just kind of like diversified on the different things right now. So if we notice on one side it's slow here, we just focus more on this side. And if it's slow in this side, so it's just about trying your hands, not putting all your eggs in one basket, but just doing a bit of 2, 3, or 4 related things in real estate. And that's just how I've been able to scale through. And I just want to use this opportunity to say it's all thanks to God. It's just been by God's grace, really, really by God's grace. So I think that's how it's been for me.
Okay, and you, Hanna?
Well, I think for me, it's for Ewells, it's 3 things. Number one, God has sustained us. Number two, collaborative efforts. I'm a big believer in partnerships, in collaboration. So we have managed to partner with key stakeholders, right? And then number three is creativity. We've had to think outside the box. We've had to tap into markets that, perhaps we typically wouldn't tap into, to find, new markets for this real estate sector. So I think, you've got to reinvent yourself. You've got to re-strategize. You got to step back and reevaluate. And it's kind of a good thing, because it causes you to be creative, and it causes you to look around and say, oh, wow, we haven't thought about perhaps this channel or that channel. And I think the other thing, I did say three, but I'm gonna add four. The fourth thing is that, we started integrating AI. And I think that's been very helpful in our company. And oh my gosh, five. The fifth thing is the last thing. The fifth thing is my team. I have a solid team. And our team is amazing. These people are committed. They've never called in sick. They don't even like to take days off. I got to force them to get out, go home, rest, So I think those five things have really kept us going this year.
That's wonderful. So we started talking about 2025. I'm sure there are people who have plans of still investing. The markets may not be looking good, but people still have needs and they have interest in investing. If you were advising people on where to put their money next year, what would you be telling them, taking into consideration everything that's happening?
Yeah, I always ask people, the first question is, what is your financial goal? Because everybody's financial goal is different, right? If you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, your goal is different to somebody who's in their 50s. So I, first of all, need to understand what you're trying to achieve, and then I can guide you towards that. So if you tell me you're looking for passive income, then I'm going to advise you to look for properties in prime area, because more than likely that's where you're going to be able to get your Airbnbs, your short stays, because they're in higher demand than apartments in other areas. And then that also tells you what kind of apartments, studios, 1, 2 beds, etc. So if you're looking to build your real estate portfolio with cash flow, that would be my advice to you. However, if you have more time, maybe you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s, you have more time, and you're not looking for that monthly cash flow, then I would advise you to look at emerging markets where you can place your funds in investments, and they would appreciate over time. And Benaiah touched on that, looking at areas of development, areas of good infrastructure, areas where there's high demand for jobs, then the demand for housing goes up as well. Wherever there's going to be some sort of development or improvement, you're more than likely going to see appreciation with properties. So if that's your goal long term, then it's going to be appreciation. It's going to be emerging markets. If you're looking at short term, you want cash flow, is going to be prime area. So it really depends on that. And then finally, diversifying your portfolio, right? So you want to have a mix of assets. You want to have some commercial, residential, land, that sort of thing, so that you can mitigate your risk as much as possible in your portfolio.
Right. Would you like to add anything, Benaiah?
No, she just rounded it up. No, I think she said everything.
Thank you, Benaiah. Thank you.
Exactly.
All right.
Everything, yeah.
All right, people, if you just joined us or you joined us somewhere in the middle, thank you for joining us. This is Meqasa's last webinar for the year. So far we've talked about how the year has gone, the impact of the election year on the sector, the impact of the economy on the sector. We've spoken a little bit about 2025, what we should be expecting. Hanna's giving some great advice about where you should be looking at putting your money if you're interested in investing in the coming year. And so you've missed a little, but you've not missed so much. So that's what we've been talking about so far. Now we're going to go into the conversation about jobs and career. And before we go into that, if you have any questions, you can type it out in the question and answer section somewhere on your interface, your webinar, Zoom webinar interface. So please type it in. Maybe we can pick it as we go. But at the end, we'll have an entire Q&A session. So please put down your questions. But if you need to ask them now, you can just put it in the question and answer box, and then maybe we'll bring it up as we go. So now let's talk about jobs and career. There are lots of different categories of people who may be interested in jobs and career. There are people who already have something they're doing, but they want an extra source of income. So, they're looking at the prospects within the real estate space. There are people who are fresh out of school, they want a career, and they're looking at real estate. There are, people who have multiple things they're doing, they want to add real estate. And so we'll speak to these different categories. And so we'll start with you, Hannah. If you were to sit a group of people down, people who have 9-to-5 jobs, they probably have families. They're just looking for an extra source of income within the real estate space. If you were to sit them down and recommend a number of opportunities or prospects to them, what would it be?
Well, first of all, if you think that
whenever Hannah says, well, it means that she's going to say something very interesting.
Benaiah, look at our sleepless nights. If you think you're coming into real estate for extra cash, please rethink, reconsider, because this is not a job to just be trying for extra cash. You got to be passionate about real estate. You got to be serious about real estate. It is 24/7, especially when you are having clients in the diaspora, in Australia, in China, in Japan, in the US, in Canada. The time zones are different. And when you got to get a client, you got to get a client. And a lot of people work during the week. So they're either available in the evenings or they're available on weekends, even after church. Okay. So please, real estate, you get ready. Get ready now. Now that I've put that disclaimer out there. If you are working a 9-to-5 job, what I would advise is maybe to get in touch with an established real estate company and ask to work weekends, because the seasoned real estate agents who work Monday through Friday in that company will be more than happy for you to come on board and do the site visits, do the client follow-ups over the weekend. So if you're working 9-to-5 and you want to just try it out, then go with an established company, because they will also provide you with the training, the resources, and the tools you need to be empowered to do your job very well, to make it worthwhile. Because if you're going to end up doing 9-to-5 and weekends, you're going to pretty much be working every day. And you want to make it worthwhile, and you want to make sure you're converting some dollars or CDs or euros. You're converting something. So I would definitely suggest that you work part-time in a established company.
Okay, and are you talking specifically about maybe being a real estate agent, or are you specifically talking about a particular job?
It depends on your area of interest. I mean, some people want to go into development, construction. They're real estate companies that you could work for. I mean, they have the sales team, they have their construction team. If you want to shadow, whoever the architect is or whoever the developer is, those opportunities are there. So first of all, you need to be able to identify your area of interest and then venture into that area with a established company, a company that's been around for at least 5 years, I would say. And don't forget, with the Real Estate Agency Council now, I mean, you're soon going to have to be working for a broker that's been around for at least 5 years. So you might as well start following those rules now. So yeah, whatever your area of interest is, start with that.
What if they want to start something on their own?
Don't. Please don't. Don't start anything on your own. I beg you. Because number one, you frustrate yourself and you frustrate us. Because if you can imagine working with somebody who's just starting today. You just woke up and you want to be a real estate agent. Please don't do it. I always say that humble yourself, and go and get the experience and the training and the tools from a real estate company. They're training you for free. Get all that training you need. And also you avoid making all the mistakes and you avoid all the pitfalls of somebody who has no experience at all. And the Ghanaian real estate market is chaotic. This is not a straight line. No. You can never predict any transaction in real estate in Ghana.
Yeah.
I cannot say, oh, yes, this transaction is a straight one, it will go well. No, I am at the edge of my seat wondering, what is it now, right? Because there's no straight line to any transaction in real estate. So please don't start anything without getting the guidance, the mentorship, or the training that is required. And now with the Real Estate Agency Council, you end up in jail. And I'm not bailing anybody out. I'll tell you that right now. Benaiah?
Well, it's hard. It's. I told you this the last time we had this conversation, Daniela. Remember? It's really, really difficult. Okay, I can't tell you how many times I've got to just like, nah, man. I feel like I want to give up. Especially when everyone wants to become a real estate agent. There are so many occupations out there, so many things that you can do, real estate related occupations and professions that you can become, and not always, looking into the picture of, say, Eddie Alpha on Instagram selling a luxury home worth 1.5 million, or looking at Hanna Atiase saying, hello, we've just sold a $2 million mansion in Ada, right? And you feel like, man, I think I can do it, right? And the thing, I get calls every single time that I want to be like you. I want to be able to sell houses, to sell homes. But we forget to realize I've spent almost 5 years trying to become who I am today. I didn't just get up and just be Benaiah Rawlings or be a real estate professional. Okay. You have to understand that this is not like buying electronic appliances. It's not like buying an Apple phone. This is sometimes millions of dollars. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is people's future. Like you can't, and it's so sad. Each time I'm being called by, say, an investor or a homeowner, hey, I would like to put my home on the market, or I would like you to manage my home. And I just see the damage that either another inexperienced property manager caused, or someone else's bad management services just mess things up. Okay. It's so sad. This is money. This is blood, sweat, and tears. Okay. There are so many real estate occupations out there that you can do. You can be a real estate marketer. In fact, that's one of the best ways to become a real estate professional, right? Just market home, introduce yourself to developers or to people like myself. Have some kind of, she said a collaboration. If I sell your home, I get X amount of money. If I rent out your property, I get X amount of money. That's one simple way to become. In fact, it's one of the best ways because you don't have any risks at all. Because all the risks are being borne by the agents, the property managers, and the homeowners. Another way you can make money is by being a real estate photographer. People just don't know, how many times you reach out to a photographer, go in there, take pictures of my apartment or take pictures of my home, and they end up just going there to do rubbish because everyone just wants to, So we need people in that space who can say, okay, I want to focus on being a real estate photography expert, right? I just want to go out there, do the best that I can do, and get beautiful shots of homes. Another thing that you can do is becoming a real estate property manager. Many people just don't. Broad Ghana isn't the only property management firms out there who do who do a lovely job. Like I have a friend, what you call Lady R, Regina. She always tell you there's always a lot. There's always enough to go around. You can venture into that space, become a real estate property manager, manage maybe 1 apartment, 2 apartment, 3 apartment, okay? And it's not just about going in. And this is something I've seen across the board. Developers, property managers, agents, you name it. You have to have passion. You have to be intentional. Okay? It has to be, you just want to see things through. You want to do something and ensure you finish it. And that's what drives me, myself and my team. And if you work with me, everyone knows it. I don't really care if it's my responsibility or if it's your responsibility. I will do what needs to be done to make sure that I render a good service to my customers, to my clients, to whoever is, is involved in this in a particular transaction. So it's not just about, venturing into these spaces, but how many people are doing it for passion's sake and not for money's sake. And once you can be able to differentiate between passion, wanting to do this for the love of it, and to put smiles on people's faces, and just having that feeling that someone says, "Hi, man, I like what you just did. Thank you. I love this place. I love your service," than just making all the commissions and counting all the profits. You have to think twice. So real estate is tough. It really is tough.
And I'd like to add to that, Danielle, because we and I keep saying, work for a company first, right? Not just going out there. And you can also invest in yourself, right? We offer a lot of classes, master classes, workshop courses. I mean, just make a commitment. Just say for 3 months, every week, I'm gonna invest in my real estate career. Now we're so privileged to just go online, go on YouTube, go on Google, etc. Because even as Benaiah is talking about, there's photography, real estate photography you can do, even you have to be trained in that. I mean, how many times do you see people taking pictures? There's a security guard laying on the bed, just chilling. There's a shoe in the middle of the living. Oh, I had one of those pictures come. Oh, yes. Well, I had to tell that real estate agent, what is this? It'll put the client off. There's a shoe in the middle of the living room. Somebody you can tell arrived from vacation. Their suitcases unpacked at the edge of the bed. Their dishes in the sink. I mean, all this, you have to be trained. Go through internship. Go through mentorship. Do courses. And then, when I talked about the value chain in real estate and the careers in real estate, there's 70 plus real estate opportunity. You could do a real estate TV show. You could do a real estate blog. Just as he said, photography, videography, content creation, there's interior decor, there's design, there's architecture, there's surveying. I mean, I could go on and on. We'll be here all night. There are so many career opportunities. Find your area of passion and interest, and then find a place where you could be mentored and do internships and take it from there.
Okay. So let's talk about influencing. It's content creation. It's one of the biggest prospects now. I see a lot of content creators, especially within the real estate space. Is that what impact is that having on the sector? Is it really helping you to sell? Is it helping people to identify homes they are interested in? Is it working?
Yes. It's working. And it's all about creativity and capturing the attention. Real estate is about capturing the attention of the target audience. That's the bottom line. We had a video that we did on selling lands, and 60% of the lands we sold came from that video. Right? And so it really depends on the content. We had another video that we did that we sold out a development from that video. So again, it's about that content, it's about capturing attention, and it's about that video going viral. The more viral that video goes, the chances of increasing the sales also increases. So, that's why I always say you're never marketing in real estate. You're not posting just to be posting. It's marketing, and you're capturing attention, and it must convert to sales ultimately, right? And the way to do that is to get the attention, to to get the emotions of the buyer and to make the buyer believe that this is their home. I mean, ultimately, that's what you have to do. So if you do it right, it works.
Benaiah, would you like to add anything? Real estate influencing, content creation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm big on video creation and content creation. It's just that these days I don't really have the time. But it works. In fact, one of the things I wish, not just posting videos of properties, but actually talking about what those properties look like, because it helps with two things. It helps with a number one analysis. Anyone wanting to want to build a home, want to buy a home, would take that into consideration and use that as a reference point to when they want to make any purchase. Another thing it does is it builds more awareness. Now, anyone can just go online and his YouTube page or anywhere or watch a video concerning.
Oh, I think we're losing you. We can't hear you. No.
How about now?
Okay, yes.
Okay, sorry. So I'm using two what do you call it? Two accounts. So I just when network affects this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like I said, real estate video content creation helps a lot of things. I mentioned two things: analysis. It helps with building awareness. Now anyone can just go online. Can just know what's happening in the real estate landscape in Ghana or Accra. If you go to my TikTok, for example, I've posted a lot of videos on TikTok, and one of those videos had like 1.1 million views. Okay, and that did not just happen. People showed so much interest that they wanted to find out where that property, was located. So it helps a lot. And we've sold and rented even luxury properties. I never thought I could rent a property for $1,000 a day. I never thought that was possible. No, I've never thought it's possible. But now, through the help of video, and not just any kind of video, but making a realistic kind of video that you put so much intention and style in and effort to edit. If you do those kinds of videos, anything is possible. We did a rental a mansion in East Legon. We did $1,000 a day. We've done that like 5 times. We did another one for $800 a day. We've done that 7 times. We've done another one for $500 a day. We've done that 5 times. So
And all that came from content creation.
All that came from content creation, video, and it's shocking from TikTok. Like TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok is becoming big.
Yeah,
it is very big now.
Yeah, just leveraging the right platform. Go big on video, not just any kind of video, but plan your content well, or work with she said collaboration. I think it's something that we are doing these days, and we want to even be more intentional about doing. And it helps with sharing databases. For example, if Hanna Atiase, we can host this kind of conversations or video, and then we can each target our database. And whoever wants to, we can just reach out to her circle, and anyone can reach out to us from that particular video from her circle, and anyone can reach out to her from my circle, from any video that we shoot together. So yeah, it's big. Going big on video it has a huge impact on the real estate industry right now in Ghana.
Awesome. We have some questions. Okay, let me go through them. So Augustine Kofi says, I'm a filmmaker and I have interest in real estate. I have zero knowledge. Where do I start? Okay, so how do we do this? Should I read a few, maybe about 3, 4, and then we take them, or we should go one at a time?
I think one at a time is fine.
Okay, all right. So he says he's a filmmaker. I have interest in real estate, but I have zero knowledge. How do I start?
Well, the first thing I'd say is get
Hanna
knowledge.
just
Yeah, the first thing I'd say is, yeah, I have to get knowledge. Absolutely. Go on YouTube, take real estate courses, go to the first time home buyers in Ghana seminar. You can register, fthbghana.com. Get as much information as possible on the real estate sector in Ghana. Once you have done that, then you need to find your niche. What area of filmmaking are you interested in? Okay. You see, there are a lot of real estate shows out there. I mean, the one most recently that I watched on Netflix with Ryan Sternhart, what's it called, about owning Manhattan, right? So that's a real estate sort of documentary or series. Then there's, real estate homes that you can showcase. There's, different aspects of real estate. So you also have to figure out, there's a real estate channel, I think in the States, called HGTV, which is Home and Garden TV. And they show so many things from flipping homes to development and that sort of stuff. So my question to you is, after you've got all the knowledge that is necessary to get started in filmmaking, what is your area of interest there? Because real estate is vast. When people say real estate, you've got to be, more specific and carve out a niche for yourself.
All right. So let's move on to the next question. It says, what is the outlook for 2025? This is from Eden's Arc Realty. What is the outlook for 2025 in terms of property values and rental rates? Do you see a fall in prices or yields due to elevated inflation or interest rates, or continued value appreciation?
Well, I think we've tackled this one, but yeah, definitely there's continued value appreciation because of all the developments. And, we touched on some of the major infrastructure developments, like the dual carriageway from the Adenta Dodowa stretch. That in itself has caused appreciation in housing. In terms of rates, we are hoping that things would turn around in the economy so that the inflation is not surging or rising as quickly as it is. And that in itself will cause the housing prices to stabilize. And in terms of rental rates, I mean, it all ties together. One of the things we know that Bank of Ghana did was to prevent people from opening up dollar accounts, just to try to stabilize the CD depreciation. So if the government continues to put some of these economic measures in place, then definitely we will see a fall in prices as opposed to a rise.
Okay, Benaiah, would you like to add anything, or should we move to the next question?
Yeah, I mean, Hanna said it all. We don't. There's this uncertainty is just going to continue till like early 2025 from now. As to, I think there's another angle I want us to look at in terms of rental yields. I think that's one of the things I see here. Rental yields or appreciation. In terms of rental yields and rental rates, it's see, the thing is, what do you offer? One thing, if you do a lot of rentals, you get to understand that people just don't pay for a place because you just market it or you just put it out there on Airbnb or on Meqasa, because because you say it's a 2-bedroom for $800 a month doesn't mean anyone can just rent it. Okay, so it's what do you provide? What does your home offer? What amenities does it have? I think those little bit of those features determine what rates that you put out there and what rates to work for you. Right now, we don't have one kind of rates that works for everybody. Anyone can just get up one morning, put up a different a price on a property because X person did this same strategy and got a rental. But if you look at it and the angle of providing value to whoever is renting your property, your rates can either stay same or even increase in 2025. So my question, if someone says, what's the rate going to look like? The question for you is, what's your value going to look like? I did mention we did a rental for $1,000 a day property. That property was something we were doing for $450, $500. But because of how we marketed and the value we provided for that particular person and company, we did it for $1,000 a day. So it could really differ. In terms of appreciation and interest rate, it's just a bit uncertain right now to say until we see what new policies out there we can just work with what we have right now until after the election.
Okay.
Yeah.
Augustine asks another question again. He says, is there a fee to be paid when you want to work part-time with the established company? This was from the recommendation Hanna gave about attaching yourself to an established company if you want to start something so you can learn.
Well, if any company charges you a fee to work for them as a part-time employee, they're scamming you. Okay, so run. You should not be paying any fees for coming to work for the company to bring, revenue to the company. No, sir.
Okay. So Elvis says, I've been looking to build a career in real estate for the past 10 years. I've been on the lookout for low-risk entry into the real estate space, and it has not been easy. The thing is, I rarely see developers or agencies post vacancies for real estate agents or marketers. Even if I wanted to start something alone, I believe I will require some form of certification or training. Where do I get this certification or training? Number two, how open are real estate developers to individuals who want to market their portfolios with regards to real estate content creation?
I think, Hannah, can you take the first one? And I'll take the second one. Maybe we can just change.
Okay, so again, I would appreciate it if people could elaborate when they say real estate space, because as I said earlier, it's very diverse. But I'll give you this example. Let's say you want to become a building inspector in Ghana. There is a school for that.
There's the build. So he mentions real estate agents or marketers and also content creation. So I think that he's thinking along those lines.
Okay, so we're going to assume that you want to become a real estate agent or marketer, right? And to be honest with you, they're posting all the time. That's why I wasn't sure whether that's the area. Right now, there's a real estate company, very established, that's looking for marketers. So my question to you is, where are you looking? If you go on Instagram, if you go on even Facebook, if you go on LinkedIn, you'll find that people are posting there and recruiting for real estate agents or marketers. The other thing I would suggest is get in touch with a real estate association, like Ghana Association of Real Estate Brokers. Get in touch with their office and let them know that you're looking for a position. So they should reach out to real estate brokers that are part of the association who are looking for real estate agents or marketers. Okay, so I've given you the social media platforms. The Real Estate Association is another avenue for you to be looking as well. So I hope that helps.
Okay, and I would think that for this person also, maybe Benaiah, you made some suggestions earlier about approaching them and telling them that, okay, if I sell your property, then you can give me this, instead of maybe looking for a retainer fee or something. Maybe that would be a little more difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of the challenges for maybe real estate marketers and content creators is that I wouldn't say most, but some of them don't do this with the sole intention of marketing that particular property. I mean, of course, if it helps, market that property, and yeah, no problem. But some of them do that to promote themselves and to show, okay, I have access to such buildings, I have access to such places. It's just to grow their profile, grow their fan base, subscriber base, and make more money on YouTube, or maybe make more followers, have more followers on Instagram. And that's some of the reasons why not every developer would want to, well, who does not have an intention of selling their property. But if you have a different strategy in meeting up with these people, I mean, one of the ways which I started was I just didn't go to any development, right? It's just very simple. If you have someone interested, if you have any group of people, interested in property in Accra, you can just go, okay, hello, developer. I have this group of people who might be interested in your property. I would like to do a video for them, showing them the various parts and the various amenities that your development has. And that way they can better understand what your project looks like and if they can invest in your home. So that's some of the ways to introduce yourself and work with this. It's just about the intention. You're doing a content creation on my property. What's the purpose? And to be honest, some developers pay you. They actually pay. They can pay you. The intention is not to take any money from them, but they can pay you, based on the results that they get or the feedbacks that they get from the video you just did. I did a video of Oyarefil Park, and there was 1.1 million views on that particular property. Right now they're sold out. Right now, completely sold out. So videos like that have a really huge impact on a particular development. It all comes down to what's your strategy. If you're going to talk to a developer that you want to market their home, or you want to shoot a video on that property, what's the intention? What are you going to do? What's the plan? Do you plan to market it for a commission? And even that way you can make an extra cash. Okay, so it's just about how do you go about it? How do you corner the conversation with the developer and their development?
Okay. All right. Abdul says that with so many new high-end developments coming up in Accra, is there a concern that there's going to be saturation of the market as they are all targeting the same clients?
Sorry, say that again. I think I lost you.
Oh, he says that with so many new high-end developments coming up in Accra, is there a concern that there's going to be a saturation of the market as they are all targeting the same clients?
Oh, I don't really think so. Like I said, the trends we've talked about from the start of this video is just going to continue. One thing that we've noticed right now are developers are building according to a lifestyle. Okay, every developer, especially the high-end developers, they may have same pool of buyers, but each person is selling a different lifestyle and a different future of their development. And for those people they're targeting, they can either just make a choice to want to buy or want to invest in the home. There's not going to be any saturation. It's just going to continue the way it is right now. Just be what it is. I don't know what Hannah has to say. But...
Okay. Hanna, would you like to add anything?
I think he said it all, honestly. I don't think, the market is saturated. There is a housing deficit anyway right now. Ghana has over 33 million people. The number of developers right now that are doing luxury, I don't think meets the demand. That's why they're still building. So I think Benaiah has answered that, and I agree with him. I don't think it's saturated, no.
Okay, so we're going to take the last two questions and then we can wrap this up. But before that, Augustine says, Hanna and Benaiah, I want to intern in either of your companies. How do I get in touch?
Yeah, send your CV to our email, info@ewellsconsult.com. So info@ewellsconsult.com.
Augustine, I hope you got that. info@ewellsconsult.com. So kindly send your CV and then we'll take it up from there. So Eminent says, I'm a newbie in the real estate world. I'm trying to create a brand that resonates with and empowers the youth in real estate. As a newcomer myself, what strategies and approaches can I use to effectively engage and connect with the younger generation of this field?
Read that again.
Okay. He says, I'm trying to create a brand that resonates with and empowers the youth in real estate. As a newcomer myself, what strategies and approaches can I use to effectively engage and connect with the younger generation in this field? He doesn't say exactly what he's doing. I don't know if it's maybe content creation or it's, I don't know, but he says he's trying to create a brand that resonates with young people.
Yeah, kind of brand, like what is he doing exactly? What tangible something can you show? The thing and the mistakes we see, and it's not everyone can do real estate. Okay. Hannah said it all. There are 70 or more occupations in the real estate space. What exactly do you want to do? And I believe that you must first do it, understand it, gain some sort of extensive knowledge before you can pass that to someone else. Otherwise, it's just going to be like that phrase in the Bible, can the blind lead the blind? Okay. So my advice is, what type of brand are you creating? What are you working on? Do you know so much about that particular segment to transfer your knowledge to some other youths or whoever that you want to teach? What do you have to offer to them? Do you have so much wisdom and understanding? Have you sold something? Have you worked on something that you would like to share? Because I think it's more practical than theory. It's not something you teach. Okay, it's more otherwise. Well, it's more practical. All I can say, yeah,
Right.
It's more practical.
Right. Would you?
I'd like to add to that. Thank you. If he's doing real estate, he's a real estate agent. So this is what I would say. If you want to engage the younger generation, number one, you need to be able to provide them with a product that they can actually patronize. So the first thing I would do is talk about collective investment, okay? Because a lot of times young people, if you're right out of college, you're doing your national service, or you're a young professional, you may not have the buying power to purchase real estate. So I would encourage you to start looking at real estate outside of Accra, okay? Accra doesn't encompass everything real estate. Start looking outside of Accra. Everybody wants to purchase in Accra, but buy where you can afford it. So I would encourage maybe 5, 10 youth to come together. Collective investment, okay? We see it so much overseas. We don't really see it here in Ghana. Quote unquote, there's a trust issue. If you don't trust your friends to make money with them, change them, okay? So now you want to start looking at buying land in areas outside of Accra where you can maybe get land for 20, 30, 40,000 Ghana cedis. If 10 of you come together and bring 3,000 Ghana cedis, you've purchased a plot of land. And then your strategy would be to buy and hold. So you as a real estate agent, number one, make collective investment attractive. Number two, make the buy and hold strategy attractive. And make it attractive to buy and build your real estate portfolio with other young people. Empower yourselves and begin to see, wealth through real estate. That's one thing. And then make it attractive to buy land outside of Accra. Because after all, you're not going to build your dream home there. So if you buy that plot of land and you have a plan and an exit strategy to hold it for 5, 10 years, if you're in your 20s, by the time you're 30 and you figure out what kind of business you want to do and you sell that plot of land, you all have seed capital to reinvest into another project. because the chances of you getting seed capital from any bank in Ghana is slim to none. So you might as well start planning and thinking of ways in which you can do that. So you as a real estate agent, you've got to bring these ideas to the forefront of their minds. You've got to make it attractive so that the youth can, and then start a pilot so that people see the feasibility of this. Get your friends and you start it. And then you begin to show people like, hey, we did it. And this is what happened. So that's my suggestion to you, young man.
Thank you.
Oh, young.
So
Well,
the
it
last
says
question,
eminent Marfa. Yeah, eminent young man.
the last question is, I know that being in the real estate industry, you have to, oh, okay, you have to understand the finance sector. In your opinion, how important do you think it is to understand the finance sector in respect to real estate and advising clients?
Extremely important. Because look, real estate, you have buyers, you have first-time home buyers, you have seasoned buyers. You have first-time investors, you have seasoned investors. And where this is going to be very crucial is where you get to seasoned investors. Seasoned investors don't care about what the house looks like. All they care about is their bottom line. All they care about is the finances. What is my cash flow? What are my annual rental yields looking like? What is my appreciation gain on this property? A lot of seasoned investors will buy unseen. As long as the numbers make sense, they will buy. So if you're dealing with a seasoned investor and you don't understand real estate finance, you're in trouble. So it's very, very important when it comes to investing.
Okay, Benaiah, would you like to add anything to that?
No, it's not. I don't need to add anything. It's very, very, we don't have substantial knowledge in finance. I mean, it's what are you even doing in real estate? It's a math game. It's a math game.
Right.
Wrong occupation.
Wow, this has been really interesting. This is a conversation that you have to sit with over and over again, people. So we're recording, we'll upload it on our YouTube page, and you can visit it and listen to it over and over again. There's so much nuggets in there that I would recommend to you. Please share the link with your friends and people, every other person you know who's looking to start something in real estate. This was a whole masterclass. And we thank you so much for joining us, Hanna and Benaiah. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving us your Monday afternoon. We do not take it for granted. We're so grateful that you could join us. Are there any last words you'd like to share?
Yeah, I just want to comment on what Augustine has said. He said he doesn't have a CV in real estate. I understand that. I want to see your CV in filmmaking, because looking at that will be able to help guide you as to what area of real estate you would be best suited for, or where your strong points are. Then I can guide you better. So I do know you have no real estate experience. Thank you. What I want to say to everybody is, let's work together to change the narrative of real estate in Ghana and the entire continent. I always say this. We always see people building generational wealth through real estate overseas. Let's begin to see it in our nation. And the way to do that is to empower ourselves through education, through knowledge, and through collaborative efforts. So let's build generational wealth through real estate, one house at a time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Benaiah, what will your last words be?
I just want to encourage everyone. I'm pretty sure anyone joining the session wants to understand how real estate works in Ghana. One thing, it's not a scary space to be in. People think it's a lot, and then some of the things we've discussed here, don't let it scare you. The only thing you just have to do is just be more intentional. It all starts with one thing: figuring out what segments you want to venture in, it just starts with clarity and focus. Like I want to work as a real estate agent. I want to work as a real estate marketer. I want to be a designer, an architect, or any sort of occupation in that field. Just be more intentional about that particular profession and just give out your best. And please, please don't mess with connection. Don't burn bridges. Don't just think that you just work with anyone and you just behave anyway. You see yourself as an entrepreneur. Okay, I think that's one of the first things. Real estate is especially with what we do, real estate agency, developing. It's you have to see it as entrepreneurship, as starting up a business. You don't mess. The last thing you want to do is having a bad name for your brand. Be a person of integrity. It helps. 70% of the deals we do today are all from because we've really put in so much work and an intention to maintain relationships. So relationship is key. Build more connections, work with experts, and please ask more questions. Anything you don't understand, ask more questions. And I wish you all the very best. And please close more deals. Close more deals.
That's very important. Bring more deals. Anyway, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. This has been great. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving us your time. We're so grateful. We're looking forward to more fruitful relationships and partnerships in 2025. And yes, and we're looking to see that the market, gets better in 2025, regardless of how this election goes. So we're being optimistic and we're hoping for better. So thank you all for joining us once again. My name is Daniela Asariedu, and Meqasa.com is Ghana's #1 property website. We're committed to not just providing the most efficient housing solutions, but bringing value to our clients by putting together such insightful conversations so that we can learn, because the sector, thrives on a lot of knowledge and a lot of education, and we're committed to bringing that value to our clients and everybody who follows us. So thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy your afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.